Each one of us possess unique talents and attributes, and we have something about us that makes us unique. We have a certain type of perception, the way we see the world. We have certain philosophies that we hold on to dearly, and we just have different type of frequencies about ourselves. And what this world always tries to do is it tries to minimize any of your accomplishments, even if your accomplishments are small. For somebody that has been going through it for a long time, if you're somebody in that position, if that speaks to you, and just waking up and getting out of bed is an accomplishment. Just being able to think and have your mind and keep your sanity and not having your mind break and just having your mind break into 1,000 pieces and you just go crazy and lose it. There's something critical going on in the world, if you look at it concisely, where it's really there to try to loose you, honestly. Everything. I know you guys see like they're having those robo taxis or whatever. So now they're getting rid of taxi drivers. You're going to have a robo taxi, a damn robot pick you up in a car. And there's no telling whether this robot may make a glitch and steer off the road, or you're driving next to the river and it drives off into the water. You know what I mean? I don't trust that. It's nighttime, you're drunk. You get into a robo taxi and it's driving over the damn river, and then it just decides to just turn off and plunge you into the dark waters below. Hell no. You think, you know what I mean? I don't trust it. I wouldn't even trust people, really. I don't, there's certain things that you don't do, and one of them is just giving your whole civilization to artificial intelligence integration. That's not smart. Artificial intelligence makes mistakes all the time. Even though the artificial intelligence they present before us is kind of like a clumsy, weaker version, they have classified versions and things that are much more scarier in the deep labs, right? And the classified sensitive installations and military installations. So when we see this fusion of technology and humanity, and they say that this technology is to enhance humankind, it's to enhance mankind, it's to give us a better, brighter future or whatever. Is that really true? Or is that just some nonsense? Because what I'm seeing now is that this technology is firing a lot of people from these jobs, or these companies, they're just laying off thousands and thousands of people. These people, their work experience on their resumes were working at a particular job for the last 25 years. They thought they were set. They thought everything was set in stone. One thing you're going to learn about this abyssal realm is that everything changes. Everything is temporary. This life is temporary. Your happiness is temporary. Even your sadness is going to be temporary. But since, you have to be at a low vibrational frequency so you can produce negative energetic manifestational frequency to these beings, that's going to be the prioritization and the preliminary default setting is pain and agony and torment and torture. People are being tormented every day. People are being psychologically attacked. People are being physically abused and attacked. People are going through panic attacks and anxiety attacks at their jobs because the job is so stressful. The boss is a mini demiurge, a mini little tyrant, a mini Stalin, declaring this, declaring that. You may do something at work and you may do it right and they said you do it wrong. You may be at work just minding your business. You just got through finishing your work and you go into your lunch break and somebody questions you. It's just all archonic energy. Have you noticed that? You notice that there's always beings trying to find your energy, right? There's something about you. There's something unique about you that keeps them fascinated and fixated on you as a enlightened individual. It doesn't matter where you go. It doesn't matter if you're on the internet. It doesn't matter if you're walking down the street. When people hear your spiritual intelligence, they get envious, they get jealous, they get petty. They want to learn more about you. They're just captivated by you. And it's like, what the fuck? I'm just scratching my nuts playing Xbox. I'm not that special. I'm just a regular everyday guy. But because you utter wisdom for your soul, and these parasites are like the deep terrors of the abyss. Any type of light they see, they attach themselves to it because they need it to feed. Without you, how would they even get anything? Without your soul, how would these parasites feed off of you? If you just got out of existence now and hid, they have nobody to talk to. There's nothing. There's nobody. There's nothing. There's thousands of other creators out there, millions of people that make videos, but they're attracted to you, right? What does that tell you? That's not deliberate. You don't think the demiurge is behind that to try to get you to stop talking about what you're talking about? What you were talking about is just nonsense. People will leave you alone and not bother you. But you're talking about things that hit on spiritual truths, whether people want to agree with it or not. I don't agree with that. It doesn't matter what you agree with. The truth is truth. I know I'm speaking the truth. You know? Go to your Christian church pastor on Sunday, hear him talk about God sending you to hell for the thousandth time, and you've been going to church for 40 years. The God of the Bible doesn't want to fix your fucking life. Do you not understand that if your life gets fixed and you get happy, that you stop producing loose negative energetic manifestational frequency? And the negative energetic manifestational frequency is what's being used to hold up the realms and hold up his heavens. You know? So it's a life of survival for Yaldabaoth, for the demiurge. He has to keep us soul trapped or his realm will fall. Our souls are literally the only thing powering this realm. Once our souls leave and go to the pleroma, the demiurge will have nothing. Eventually his universe will fall into the black abyss and be destroyed by the abyssal winds and by the deep abyssal terrors and the pitch blackness of the abyss, where the darkness swallows the darkness, where black holes devour other black holes, and then supermassive black holes devour both of them. And then you got apocalyptic black holes, which are so big you can't even describe it. Black holes that are so massive, they'll swallow this entire universe in a second. And then you got even bigger ones than that are just that I call the anomaly, the black hole terror anomalies. Black holes so massive that the human mind can't even get around it. The black hole itself might as well just be an entire universe, because it devoured entire universes of fallen gods and fallen realms and fallen pantheons of gods. Right? This world is brutal, man, and it's cruel. And the existence of wickedness and evil and the tenacious and voracious appetite that these wicked beings have is just, it's indistinguishable from common marauding and plundering, right? So what I'm saying, guys, is that we have to focus on things that empower our minds and try to raise our vibrational frequency so it can be high. Stop being jealous of people. Stop being angry. Stop being mad. These are low vibrational frequencies that when you pass away will pull you down and hold you down. You know, you want to have as least attachments to this world as possible, you know, right? And you want to have as least stress in your life as possible. Stop arguing with people. Stop trying to prove yourself to somebody that already made it their mission not to even try to understand you or just whatever. Stop listening to those people. Stop engaging with those people. These people are spiritual parasites. You're engaging with an emotionally unstable person that's willing to go to dangerous lengths. You know what I mean? Right? Why are you even arguing with somebody like that? You know, you can't touch this person in real life. You don't just like, there's no point even entertaining that. Why are you entertaining that? You know, the devil wants to play in the darkness so he can dance the best. No, let's not, you know what I mean? Don't let an idiot bring you down to their level and beat you with experience. You have a spiritual mission here. We're not here to play games. We're here to get to the pleroma. We're here to gain divine enlightenment. We're here to escape the abyssal terrors and the pitch black abyss after we escape Yaldabaoth's hell, or the God of the Bible's hell realms. You know, it's not a game and it's not a joke. You have to understand that your confidence has been attacked ever since you were born. Your confidence, the way this world sees you, the way this world isolates you, the way this world devastates you, the way this world absolutely despises your existence. Doesn't it feel like we're being punished for just existing? You know, like we're literally being punished just because we exist. And we got to go through this hell realm, you know. So we're trapped. Our souls are trapped in a prison that's trapped in an abyss, you know, and we have to escape the prison. A perfect example. Imagine being in an underwater base, an underwater classified sensitive installation developed by the United States Navy. And let's say you're in an underwater base and you're a prisoner. So now you got to escape this underwater classified secret base that the public doesn't know exists, because they lied to the public and said, we can only go this deep. We can't go deeper than that. And they lied. And so they go deep as they can, and they make a secret installation underground. And you find yourself in a pitch black abyssal ocean. So if you do escape, you take a submarine or something like that. Except in the spiritual realm, you're not going to have a submarine. You're just going to have your body, or your spiritual body, in that little divine light. And with that little tiny light, you got to get yourself to the surface world. So you got to escape this underwater Navy military base. So imagine a video game like BioShock, but instead of fighting inside the little places in BioShock, you got to step out into the pitch black ocean and try to raise yourself to the top and reach the surface. Problem, you got big monsters that would swallow you. If they see any light in the dark abyss, that means food to them. They're going to come and devour you. You got other type of abyssal terrors. You got abyssal storms, abyssal whirlwinds. You got the screams of dead gods, because in the abyss, there's a constant, in the pitch black abyss, the Kanoma, there's the screams of gods constantly going around. So you're going to hear, it's terrifying, because these gods, they passed away in their arrogance and pride. So the last thing they remember was, or the last thing these gods saw was eternal darkness. You got to understand that these gods were proud gods. They ruled for eons and epochs. They ruled for quadrillions of years. They ruled before they eventually got in a war with each other. Remember, a lot of the debris from the abyss, it comes from this older advanced civilization before the God of the Bible was even born, with these ancient gods, these proto-gods from this other being that fell like Sophia. I forgot the name of that being, but there was another being before Sophia that fell trillions of years before Sophia. There was another being that fell, or eons before that, another being that fell, and it fell into the darkness, and then its light got splintered, and then each splinter created its own little mini god, and they started building these massive interdimensional empires. Then they started warring with each other, and that war, and they created these god type weapons that it focused on the frequency and dimensions of other gods and pantheons, were able to neutralize gods instantly, destroy their powers and destroy their realms. They created these supermassive weapons and massive interdimensional wars that last eons, and then eventually they destroyed themselves due to mutual destruction. Then the abyssal, and then when their worlds fell and the realms fell, all the trillions of souls were just left in the pitch black abyss. Then the abyssal terrors came and had their way, and devoured lots of souls. Very few souls escaped that. And so a lot of the floor, the abyss really doesn't have any floor, but there's certain layers to it. So the layer of this abyss, where the demiurge created his heavens, he built his empire, the heavens that we know now from the Bible, off of the bones of dead empires from ancient gods that existed. So it gets deep. It's complicated. The Gnostic text is very interesting, but we find ourselves in a precarious situation, and we have to stay strong with what we're facing. You have diabolical beings, you have monitoring spirits, you have spirits that will just monitor you and watch you and try to attack you because they have nothing better else to do. Their life is to latch on to you, and whatever you do, you do anything. They're trying to find it, like they're spiritual parasites designed to get you to engage with them so they can beat you with their low vibrational frequency. You have to let dogs be dogs, let snails be snails, and let souls that are destined for hell go to hell. The living can't speak to the dead. When somebody is spiritually dead, they're spiritually deceased. There's no wisdom or amount of knowledge that can get to their soul or heart because they don't want to hear it. And rather than just, okay, I don't like this person, let me leave them alone, they try to go closer to you. So that's not demonic. That's not weird. If you don't like somebody, why would you try to get closer to them? Does that make any sense to you? If I don't like somebody, I don't want nothing to do with that person. I don't want that person looking at me. I don't want nothing to do with that person. I don't want nothing to do with you. I don't know you. I don't like you. I don't even know you. I don't even know you enough not even to like you. I don't know who you are. I don't even know you. So this is what you deal with in this world. You go to work every day and you deal with strangers. Yeah, you may have worked with this person for 7 years, but do you really know them? And then a lot of people in this world are always talking crap. They're talking behind your back. They're always trying to talk shit about you, but they can't. But they're always paying attention to you. Do you not know there are millions of channels like mine that talk about the same shit I'm talking about? Right? I can show you 10 channels right now that show their face, that talk about the exact same shit I talk about. But yet, they don't. No one really talks about what I talk about except schizo dumps, in these spaces. Schizo dumps, maybe a few others, are the main ones that talk about the things you talk about, esoteric knowledge, Gnosticism, whatever. But it's very rare. You're not going to find people talk about this much because a lot of people, like I said, I'm not a black pillar. I'm not no doomer. I'm none of that shit. I don't associate with those people. I don't want nothing to do with people that are mentally messed up and fucked up in their head. I'm a men's health channel that talk about the rehabilitation, recalibration, revitalization, and the viability of the human mind, and how we can get out of the most volatile situations and still retain and remain in dignity and still try to follow and accomplish our dreams and ambitions and inspirations. I want this to be a positive channel, which is why I'm slowly but surely moving the channel in a more positive direction, because that's evolution of the spirit and evolution of the soul. We must find a way to be successful. I know we can do it. I know we all can do it. We have to find a way to be a little bit more positive and raise our vibrational frequencies, because that's the only way to get to certain positions. Um, the way the world is orchestrated, you can see it's a prison. You can see that it's made to make sure that you never make it. You can easily see it's right in front of our faces. And millions of people, around the world, millions and millions of people around the world are blind. It's ridiculous, but that's the truth. You have a myriad of people that they just don't think. I think it was the Führer when he said, "How good is it that a nation of people don't think and use their minds?" If you just think and use your mind, you can understand that the world that we live in is a carefully crafted, materialistic, spiritual, ritualistic prison designed by evil, mad God who claimed to be the supreme God. "I am the Lord your God, and there are no other gods before me." "That's a lie, Sabaoth," Sophia said from the high heavens, And then they showed the flicker of man. And then he looked, "Come, let us make man let us make man in the image of a God that we've seen. That way we may trap the light." But then the Bible says, "Come, let us make man in our own image." The image of the demiurge is the face of a lion and the body of a dragon. The demiurge is raw psychic energy mixed with the abyss. So half of his body is a pitch black portal, black abyss with fire around it, and the other side is a lion with a fiery lion mane with fire eyes. The God of the Bible is terrifyingly scary. That's what people don't understand. It's not the good, loving God sitting on the throne. He's a scary monster. Even his angels call him the Great Terror, the God of Terror. When Sophia fell into the black abyss, Yaldabaoth was one of the first beings, not even the deep, dark abyssal terrors. It was Yaldabaoth was one of the first beings that was targeting her. Even though she showed Yaldabaoth mercy, she showed him mercy, by not destroying him. When she created a lion-headed serpent beast, she spared him. And how did Yaldabaoth return her favor? By scaring her in the pitch black abyss. In the Gnostic text, said he made these giant faces. He opened his mouth, and all these beings came from the mouth and were scaring Sophia, and she was terrified, and she was in the pitch black abyss being tortured by the demiurge. In his archons, they were torturing Sophia because every time that she cried, because she's a divine being, every time she cried, she screamed out in anguish in a pitch black abyss. A little bit of her soul fell off, and this is what fed the demiurge. He ate it greedily. And took that power and became more stronger, right? This is the Gnostic shit. This is that esoteric stuff. This is the stuff that your Christian pastor knows about but won't say because he needs your money every Sunday to get that new Bentley, Ferrari, or that mansion or that wristwatch. Notice how the pastor is always talking about how to be blessed in the materialistic realm that's ran by the demiurge. You think that being blessed by materialistic possessions that will just rot away in this abyss when this universe eventually falls into the deeper the hyper abyss, which is deeper below us, or the infra abyss. Yeah, the infra abyss, where you have where it's darkness that literally swallows darkness, and you hear the screams of dead gods infinitely. The screams are terrifying. The screams are so powerful. There's a thing called the abyssal winds, and there's abyssal screams within the wind. These screams took on a life of their own self when these dead gods passed away. These gods were the pinnacle of their dimensions, beautiful beings, powerful, but greedy and selfish and prideful. And that led to their demise. So in their final moments, they screamed, and that scream got internalized into the abyss, and there's trillions of them, because there's been so many empires that rose and fell in these dimensions. You gotta think about the eons of time. We're not talking about our human life. We're not even talking about when the God of the Bible was created. Way before the God of the Bible was created, there's been eons of expansive, interdimensional empires that fell into the abyss because their God or whatever did something wicked or bad, and then that whole realm got destroyed by these supermassive black holes that devour it, and these abyssal terrors that roam the abyssal deep dark of the spiritual realm and the Kanoma. What a terrifying existence, really. We got to run through a gauntlet in life, being poor, being this, and then you got to pass away and you gotta go through 7 ultimate gates. Each gate you gotta do a password. If not, they won't let you in. They'll throw you to a bottom or some hell realm to be tortured. Then they torture you and scare you till you just beg, please let me put me back in the human body. Fine. Take the waters of forgetfulness. They give you the waters of forgetfulness. They torture you some more. Then they throw you back. And next thing you know, you're in the human body and the human baby, learning how to walk, learning how to shit, learning how to piss, learning how to do anything as a baby. You know, you know. They got to go through that whole process of being alone, being teased, being isolated. You got to go through that life again. Then you got to come to all these conclusions once again. It's like, damn, bro, if we would have had our memories, we would have broke free from this crap a long time ago. Can you imagine if I had the memories of every lifetime I ever lived for the past 5,000 years? I would have been seeing this world as a scam. But because we get mind wiped and get our memories erased, we keep coming back with this new mind thinking that this is a new experience every single time. So we get deceived. We get depleted and defeated from our energy. We get defeated and depleted of our energy. It's ridiculous, man. How can any being is supposed to survive something this predatory, this evil, this wicked, this sick and twisted? All of us are trying our best to be fruitful. We're trying our best to get money. We're trying our best to keep our fucking sanity. But how can we keep our sanity in a world of vanity and high calamity? It's almost impossible. It's almost an impossible obstacle. Indeed, it's horrible and horrific. So we got to try our best to keep our vibrational frequencies at a high level and make sure that we're only interacting with people that raise our vicinity, that raise our frequencies. Stop having petty arguments with people. If somebody thinks they won, let them think whatever they think. Yes, none of your business or concern. You got to protect. One thing I learned, you got to protect your spiritual peace. You got to protect your spiritual mind. Stop letting people rob your attention. If somebody at work doesn't like you, fuck them. Just do, as long as they're not messing with your money, do your thing. You ain't got to talk to that person. You ain't got to say hi to that person. You ain't got to be nice to that person. Just be respectful on the job. Don't start nothing and get your money, save up, and then try to get out this hole. But the problem is, I believe destiny is already rigged. I believe it's already decided by the stars and by the fate of the damn demiurge that it's already determined whether you're going to be a millionaire or not. If you're in your 30s and you haven't made $1 million, you probably never will. Because what's the odds? What do you do that even attracts people? There's people that want to be millionaires, but you're not even fascinating. There's nothing magnetic about you. I unfortunately got a magnetic presence, but you can't tell by my YouTube views because YouTube has my channel shadow banned, which is like, oh shit, they shadow ban again. It's like, geez, I'm talking about men's mental health, right? But they don't want that because I add the esoteric with the men's mental health, which is unique, right? You don't see nobody really doing it like that, right? Besides schizo dumps, there's other people too, but come on, man. These people don't have people that are obsessed with them, they're just regular people. They have regular followers and regular fans. For some reason, you invite that. How? You're just talking on the internet, minding your business. How do you invite somebody to be obsessed with you like that? How does that even work? I'm not even rich or famous. How are these people so obsessed with me? Why are they on my channel secretly watching me? If you don't like me, get the fuck off my channel. I don't want you on my channel. I don't want nothing to do with you fucking parasites. And they still go in. It's like, leave me the fuck alone. I don't know you. I don't want to know you. Fuck off. Why are you so invested into me? Or why? It's weird. And then you got people know who's doing it and they don't do shit about it to stop it, So it's like, Jesus. And that's why I was like, man, this is just low vibrational frequency to get you trapped into the abyss to be swallowed by an abyssal terror. You know what I mean? That's all this is. They're trying to lower your frequency so when this world breaks, you'll be stranded in the spiritual world and the abyssal terror is going to come out of nowhere and devour you whole, right? And then you will never reach the pleroma. And yes, divine sparks can be swallowed by the darkness. It happens to many gods, understand? So I advise everybody, bro, to keep your head focused. Understand you do have talent, you do have attributes, and you are somebody in this world. Don't nobody tell you that you ain't nothing. You are somebody special in this world, and you can achieve, and you can do things, and you can make it, and you can get out the hole that you're in. Yes, you can. You can achieve anything you set your mind to. How about that? Anything you set your mind to, you can achieve, right? Right? No more of this doomer talk. No more of this black pill talk. Fuck that shit. That shit invites the most evil shadow bastards you can imagine. Positive, right? You can do anything you set your mind to, right? I remember Eminem said that in the 8 Mile song, and it stuck with me my entire life. And he said, "You can do anything you set your mind to, man." Remember 8 Mile? No, it was in "Lose Yourself." That's on my favorite Eminem songs. "Lose Yourself." And at the very end of it, Eminem was like, "You can do anything you set your mind to, man." I felt that, and you guys can do anything you set your mind to as well. Okay. Just focus on it, try your hardest, and it doesn't guarantee you want to get those results. You got to be realistic, but still try it anyway. Fuck it, you may get lucky. The demiurge may throw you a bone. Yeah, right. But you know what I'm trying to say. So we got to maintain our brains, guys. We got to maintain our brains and maintain from going insane. And with that, I wish you guys a good morning, a good night, or whatever, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Peace.